Welcome to the North Carolina A&T Football Coaches Show with head coach Shawn Gibbs. Here's your host, Donal Ware.
It is a new era in Aggie football, as a matter of fact, in 2025. And the
first opponent of the season is Tennessee State out of the OVC Big South Conference. It's a Saturday game, and it is a 4:30 Eastern time kickoff. We're coming on with the pregame show at 4 p.m. on the Aggie Sports Radio Network, 103.5 FM, 1400 AM, The Light, and Tobacco Road Sports Radio.com. Well, it's a new era, but the coach is not new to the A&T football program. As a matter of fact, had a lot of success as an assistant coach, even going back to the days of when Bill Hayes was the head football coach here at North Carolina A&T. We welcome in the new head football coach of the Aggies, Shawn Gibbs. What's going on, Coach Gibbs?
Not much. Blessed to be here.
You know where I want to start? I want to start coaching staff, because at one time you were part of a coaching staff, and now you have put together a tremendous coaching staff with a couple of holdovers. As a matter of fact, a couple of guys that have been part of the A&T program. Just talk about the coaching staff and assembling this staff.
Okay, well, it starts with our strength and conditioning coach, Coach Kerry Harbor. It's a guy that I've known since 1993. We were freshmen together at North Carolina Central University and roommates. So I've known him for quite a long time. And when I had the opportunity to become the head coach here, and I knew that he might be available as the head strength and conditioning coach, I had to give him a call, because the strength and conditioning coach spends more time with your players than anybody else. So you got to get the right guy in that position. I think we were able to do that with Coach Harbor. Then our coordinators, Denzel Jones. He was our defensive coordinator down at Fort Valley State, so we were very familiar with each other. And Denzel's a guy that played here. He was Celebration Bowl defensive MVP, bright young coach, going to be a star in the future. And offensively, we hired Greg McGee, who also has a lot of ties to the old MEAC, where he was Offensive Player of the Year, co-Offensive Player of the Year one year with Tariq Cohen, I believe. But Greg is another guy that is very intelligent, very smart. He comes from a great pedigree. He's been tutored by people like Pep Hamilton and Ted White up at Howard University, so excited about him. Staying on the offensive side of the ball, we're able to keep Coach Mattis as our offensive line coach. Coach Mattis has won a lot of championships here, and we're talking about the three guys that we got in the NFL right now on the offensive line. He coached all three of them. So that talks about the type of coach that he is. We're able to retain Coach Poole at the wide receiver coach and recruiting coordinator. And I think a big part of Corian staying here, too, when he was in the transfer portal, was that relationship with Coach Mattis. So that helped out as well. But, Coach Poole's coaching our receivers. We moved Coach Keith Henry over from the defensive side of the ball to coach our running backs. And he's done a tremendous job with that. Coach Henry's a guy with a lot of North Carolina ties. He's in the Catawba Hall of Fame as a player. Got a son in the NFL, well known in the state, can really help us in recruiting, and he's done a great job of keeping RBU holding up to a high standard here at the running back position. And then last but not least, Alex Proviance is our tight end coach. He was on the defensive side of the ball last year. He's a William and Mary grad, younger coach, has a bright future, really has a good work ethic. Back to the defensive side of the ball, Coach McCray. Tony McCray is a guy that played here on the first Celebration Bowl team in 2015. He's our defensive back coach. Brought him over from North Carolina Central University. Tony's a really bright young coach. He has a great future, and he has the ability to connect with the players. They can really relate to him. He's been there. He's done that. He's still young enough where he can actually get out there and demonstrate some stuff, something I can't do anymore. Then probably our biggest get to me was our defensive line coach, Coach Courtney Cord, who was the defensive coordinator over at North Carolina Central last year and was the D coordinator when they won the Celebration Bowl. Courtney and I go back long way. I coached Courtney, and I've been able to coach with him a couple times. So getting him was a big get because I think he can get us right up front. He's one of the best defensive line coaches in the country. Coach Jones is going to coach our linebackers as well as coordinate the defense. And then Coach Terry Lance, closing it out, is going to coach our outside linebackers, our striker, and our rover. Coach Lance was also a defensive coordinator last year up at Averett in Virginia, Division III school. But he was here when we won a couple championships. So I was able to assemble a staff of guys that are, number one, good people, guys that are good recruiters, and guys that are good coaches.
Absolutely phenomenal coaching staff. I want to get your thoughts on what you've seen from the development of players and the program from spring until where we sit right now, this being August 25th.
Oh, I've seen a lot of growth. And again, I think it starts with Coach Kerry Harbor because of the most growth I've seen is in their bodies. I mean, our bodies have really changed. We had some guys that were skinny and looked like basketball players, and now we got guys walking around here with muscles everywhere and looking good and veins popping out. So, that's a testament to Coach Harbor. So they developed in the weight room, and then from a schematic and fundamental perspective, I knew that our coaches would be able to help these guys get better. Fundamentally, and that's what they've done. And then last but not least, they wanted to get better, and our guys have really worked their butt off to improve. So we're a better football team than we were in the spring. I can tell you that much.
Joining us, as a matter of fact, a little bit later on the Coaches Show, Corian Sharp, as well as Aaron Harris. Corian Sharp, a guard, and of course Harris is a cornerback. They've been with the program for quite some time, and we'll talk with them a little bit more about that. So, talk about the quarterback position. I know you haven't named a quarterback, but the two gentlemen you mentioned, Braxton Thomas and then Champ Long, a transfer. Thomas played, especially towards the end of last season. Just talk about, I know you haven't named a starter, but just talk about what each brings to the table.
Well, we also have two more. I don't like to not mention them, but Kevin White was our starter coming out of the spring, and he broke his leg the day before the spring game, and he's recovering. And by the time the season is over, Kevin will be healed and ready to go. He's practicing now; he's just not full go. And Austin Hooker had a good spring, and he tore his ACL in the spring. So that's two more quality guys that we can potentially get back by the end of the season. The two guys that we have right now, Champ Long, transfer from University of Maryland, is one of the most composed kids that I've ever coached. He just has a composure and a way about him that's kind of hard to explain, and he's sneaky athletic. He's got a great sense of time, and he can be accurate with the ball, and he gets the ball out on time. But the thing that I think is going to surprise some people is how athletic he can be. And then Braxton Thomas, he has all the tools that you want in a quarterback. He's tall. He's got good size. He's way faster than he looks. He's got a live arm. He's got a lot of talent. So I'm excited about seeing both of these guys play, and I think the future is bright for both of them.
The offensive line, and of course, Corian Sharp is an HBCU preseason All-American, All-CAA guy. One of the persons or the young men I saw was Gabe Navarro, who right now, because even as you mentioned in the press portion of this, they may be right now on the depth chart, but that could change really from practice to practice. But let me ask you about him, because I asked Dr. Henry Frazier, who's the head coach, as you know, at Virginia State. I mean, how good is this kid? He comes in from Virginia State now, is at least projected to be the starting left tackle for your program.
Yeah, well, Gabe is the type of, if we're going to get a transfer, it needs to be a guy like Gabe. Gabe was an academic All-American. Played in a lot of football over at Virginia State, and he's done a good job of coming in and adjusting to how we do things. What I can tell you is he's a kid that's going to fight you, and he works hard, plays with a lot of effort, and he's got some good guys to lead him with people like Corian. But I've been very pleased with Gabe, and Gabe is going to start for us.
Very good. This wide receiver pool is deep. Can you speak to, just the depth that you have? I mean, you've got – 6-7 guys coming back from last year. You've added some guys as well. Can you kind of talk about the depth particularly at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, I feel good about our receivers. We got quite a few guys over there that can play. I think JD, number 5, probably has stuck out the most to me throughout fall camp, with not only his ability to catch the football, but he's also a willing blocker and can dominate guys in the run game, which is important to me. Amante Jones has been explosive. I think he's been known primarily as a returner throughout his career, but he's made a lot of plays for us throughout the slot. In the slot throughout the fall and the spring. He's been really explosive these past couple weeks. So we got some guys that can make some plays, but as a unit, it's a group where you got a lot of guys where it's not much drop off from the 1s to the 2s. So I'm expecting a lot of good things from them.
And then running backs, I mean, you when it comes to running backs, I mean, it's particularly the last, iteration of great running backs that came through A&T. You brought those guys in, coached them up. Speak to that position. We saw a lot of Jalen Hicks in the spring, but speak to that position and the depth there as well.
Yeah, I feel really good about the depth we have at running back. I think it starts with Wesley Graves, who is a senior. He's had a really good camp. He's played a lot of football in his time here. He's a guy that's about 5'9", 225 pounds, so he's not fun to tackle, especially in the fourth quarter. And he runs behind his pads and plays with a lot of passion. So I'm excited about him. Shameik Blizzard is a guy that's been around here for a while now, and Shameik's a guy that can be explosive for us. And he's another little bowling ball of muscle. And I think he can really have a breakout season if he can stay consistent and stay healthy. And that's at every position. And then J.T. Smith is a transfer we got from Wofford. And JT is a playmaker. He's got elite receiving skills. He can really catch the ball. And as a runner, he's not Gale Sayers or O.J. Simpson, but he does have the ability to make you miss, and he can run you over. And then last but not least is Jalen Hicks. He's a legacy kid here. Mm-hmm. His father is one of the greatest running backs to ever play here. And, when you really look at it, he's got just as much, if not more, tools than his father does. And we all saw what his father did, but he's a kid that's 6'3", about 205 pounds, can run, can hit some home runs. We just got to get him to be consistent and buy into being the very best football player that he can be each and every day.
For those that don't know, Coach Gibbs has a current NFL player in Emmanuel Wilson who plays for the Green Bay Packers, who he coached certainly at Fort Valley State. Just off topic, we'll get back, but just talk about what does that mean you've had some kids, but to have a current guy and a guy like that really, you talk about a backup running back. This guy, this kid averages in excess of 4 yards per carry. He's been integral in Green Bay's offense. Can you speak to, that's got to be great to have a guy that's still playing in the league like Emmanuel Wilson.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's not forget Bayshul Tootin. He's one of us now. Yeah. True. I know he transferred to Virginia Tech, but Tootin's Aggie. And day after he got drafted, he was in Greensboro. But to have people like, what I try to tell the guys on the team is this throughout my experience as a running back coach, all the guys that went to the NFL, those guys are the same. Tariq, E-Man, and Tootin, Frank Warren down at Grambling, they're all good people. Like, they do things the right way. They're going to be the first one at the meeting. They're going to be the last one to leave. They're going to do everything that you ask them to do. That's how they got to the NFL. My only thing in watching these guys, and it was the same with Tariq, and when I watch E-Man, I just wish he would have the opportunity to really show how good he is, because, a lot of times as the backup, they don't know what you could do with 20 carries. So they have to try to perform on a limited amount of carries, but it's bittersweet because I want them to get more, but I'm so proud of those guys being there and being able to help their families and hopefully change for generations to come.
Defensively, let's switch to the defensive side of the football. Just talk about some of the guys you're expecting to shine, and then what's sort of the philosophy from a defensive perspective?
We're going to stop the run on defense. That's the first thing we want to do. I think it starts for us with Aaron Harris. and Tim Alderman, two of our captains. Tim is a guy we brought in from Fort Valley State. He plays our weekend position, and he's been a pleasant addition. He's a guy that works really hard. He's strong and super athletic. So I'm expecting big things from him. And then Aaron leading us in the secondary. I think from a positional standpoint, probably our strongest position overall would be our linebackers, with Jay Will and Josh Isaiah and Terry and George and Charlie Dixon. We got some guys over there that have some size and can play. So, I'm happy with the linebacker core. I think the most room for growth we have is up front on the defensive line. These guys have to, really learn to buy into what Coach Cord is teaching them. And if they can do that when it's all said and done, I think we'll probably have a really solid defensive line.
Yeah, I expect nothing less from Coach Jones in terms of particularly those linebackers, because he was a great linebacker, as you mentioned, Celebration Bowl defensive MVP when he played. Ty Williams, he got injured last year. He was playing safety. I see in the depth chart he's back at corner. Can you kind of speak to that and what he's going to bring to the table?
Yeah, we wanted to move Ty to corner so we could get a little more length on the edge out there, because I think people, if they're smart, they're going to try to stay away from Aaron.
Yep.
Because that ball can go the other way on you in a hurry. We needed somebody over there with some length because, a lot of people are throwing these 50-50 balls. So you got to have a guy that's a little taller to challenge those guys. And plus, if anybody should be able to handle it, should be Ty. He's been around here. I think this is 12th year here. I'm just joking. Ty's been here a long time. He's mature enough to handle it, and he's done a good job.
Man, you talk about a defensive secondary, particularly on the corners, because Ty Williams can play, and then we know what Aaron Harris can do. That's going to be fantastic. Let's talk about Tennessee State, because this is a team that is Big South defending champs, went to the playoffs last year. The previous coaching staff is gone, but Reggie Barlow, who you know from your time and as assistant coach at Grambling when he was at Alabama State, is now there. Just, expectations. I don't know what the personnel looks like, and I know you mentioned, may not be a personnel thing per se, but just talk about the expectations with you knowing who Reggie Barlow is.
Right. So, it's a lot of unknowns as far as, the talent that they have, the schemes that they're going to run. But the one thing I do know playing against a Coach Barlow team is they're going to be tough, and they're going to be well coached. So that's something that I know going into the game. So we're going to have to be tough as well, and we're going to have to be fundamentally sound, and we're going to have to do a good job of coaching these guys because he's going to have them prepared.
So it's more about what you're going to do, what A&T, what the Aggies are going to do.
Right, 100%. That's in any game. The team we're worried about is North Carolina A&T. If we can take North Carolina A&T off the schedule this year and not play ourselves, we'll be okay.
Last two thoughts. You mentioned in having coached under legendary coaches, Bill Hayes, Rod Broadway, Sam Washington. What do you take from them? You're not a new head coach. You were at Fort Valley State the last 3 seasons and successful, I might add. What do you take from each of them in bringing it, particularly into this job, knowing those guys have sat where you sit?
Well, I would say from Coach Hayes, it starts with recruiting. Coach Hayes is one of the best recruiters that I've ever seen, and he did a great job of having talent here. I was thinking the other day after our scrimmage, he had Michael Bass-Knight, Maurice Smith, and Reggie Shuford in the backfield. At the same time, that's 3 NFL guys. That comes from recruiting and developing. So, that's the thing I've learned from Coach Hayes. We got to get out here and we got to recruit. We got to go find the biggest, fastest, strongest guys that we can, starting in the state of North Carolina. And it don't matter how many stars they have. We're looking for our type of guy. So we got to go out and recruit those guys. With Coach Broadway, I've learned about development and holding guys accountable, not only players but coaches. And then with Coach Wash, and plus we've stolen all of Coach Broadway's sayings with the chicken, and, so we're using that. But with Coach Washington, he was like the ultimate players coach, and he's one of the most brilliant defensive minds that I've ever been around. But the thing that I learned from Coach Washington, and it wasn't just as as an assistant coach of his, but Coach Washington coached me. So, I can remember, when I was young, a freshman and sophomore, just him giving me confidence. And he coached defense, and I played offense. And he would come over and say something real simple to me. I believe in you. Boy, you're going to be nice, things like that. Right. And it made me believe in myself. So, trying to be a player's coach and trying to make sure we give guys confidence.
All right, Coach Gibbs, any last words?
Aggie pride.
Give it up, Shawn Gibbs, the head football coach of the Aggies, joining us here on the Coaches Show. Up next, Corian Sharp and Aaron Harris. Welcome back to the Coaches Show with the head football coach of North Carolina A&T, Shawn Gibbs, who joined us, as a matter of fact, in the next segment. As mentioned, the first game of the season for North Carolina A&T, the Aggies in this new era of Aggie football is going to take place on Saturday. We're going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. We're going to look forward to that game as A&T will play at Tennessee State. And we're going to come on with the pregame show beginning at 4 p.m. And, of course, you can listen to the game on TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com, also on the Light 103.5 FM and 1400 AM, as well as Sirius XM. We don't have the channel for you yet, but we will have it at the latter part of this week. And, of course, for more information on A&T and A&T Athletics, you can visit ncataggies.com. And, by the way, you're watching this, of course, on the Facebook and YouTube page at NCAT Athletics. Well, got a couple of players. First off, we're joined by Aaron Harris. He's no stranger, as a matter of fact, to the Coaches Show. He's joined us several times on the Coaches Show, the cornerback, also return specialist for the Aggies. What's going on, Aaron?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Doing great. For you, what does it mean to be able to come back this season? You had gotten injured a little bit there last season, but you were able to get one more year. Just talk about what that first means to you.
It means a lot. Being able to come back and play under the coaching staff that, I know very well. Coaching staff that I can lean on, also some teammates that's still here that I can lean on as well. So, having the opportunity to finish this thing off the right way, that's something that I wanted to be a part of.
And this is the thing. When you say coaching staff that you know well, so there were some holdovers we mentioned. But, man, you were here when Coach Gibbs was here before. I'm not going to say you've been here. You've been here a little while. Hey, you've been around, which is a great thing. You understand what Aggie pride is about. You understand what the culture is about. But speak to that and you're one of the captains. As a matter of fact, Corian is too. We'll talk with him about that. But talk about what Aggie pride is, the culture is, and then being a captain on this football team or this program, with this program.
When I speak about the coaching staff, I like to speak about how they, first of all, they won while they was here. When I first got here, that was what A&T was known for, was winning a Celebration Bowl, whether it was conference, MEAC. We won, so, that's what the culture they wanted to bring back, But as far as being a captain, it's an honor to be to have that role and, to be able to lead the others and to trying to be successful, whether it's on the field, off the field, whether it's vocally or by example, so having that role and having the ability to be the voice for those guys, it means a lot.
Can you speak to this iteration of the secondary? You've been around a good little while. You've had to wait your turn. There have been guys that have come through the program. But now you're one of the lockdown corners. And now Ty Williams moves. I think he may have been a corner before he moved to safeties back as a corner. So can you kind of speak to that and then the safeties and just that unit, that defensive back unit?
So really it starts with Coach McCray. He gasses right where he wants us. He coaches us hard. He's also a young guy who can relate to us, in different situations, different ways. So, having his voice around for us, that makes it better for us. He's someone who's played here as well, who knows the culture, who's won here, who's, won Celebration Bowls, who's played at the highest level. So, he makes it a lot easier on for us to, just go out there and play ball, So, like, even if we want to talk to him about something, personal, like, it makes it a lot better for us to come to him, as a man and somebody who's been through what we've been through, not too long ago. So, I love Coach McCray, man. That's my dog. So, having ability to learn under him, it makes it so much better, as a whole defensive back group.
Now, did you play with Coach McCray?
Hey, come on.
I'm sorry, I had to go there, but no. But the philosophy from a defensive perspective this year, you've been around, you've had different defensive coordinators. How is it different this year?
Well, for me, Coach Jones is also the defensive coordinator when I got here in 2019. So being able to have that year back, it's been great. And also a scheme that that works. And it's not super hard to learn. Like as long as everybody knows their part, like it works against anything. So being able to have that year back, Coach Jones, that means a lot too.
The return game. Let me talk to you about the return game because there's a lot of talent. That's the thing. Like even if you're not out there, there's a lot of because look, you're expected to do a lot from a defensive perspective, particularly at the cornerback position. So maybe there are some times where some other guys come in, but that just shows the depth of the return game. But speak to that. The word is out on you, man. Like you may not return a kickoff or a punt this year. The word is out.
Yeah, may have to go steal a couple of those, but nah, I'm excited. It's stuff that I want to get done. It's records that I'm going out for, but hopefully I get those opportunities. And if I don't, if the ball may go to the off return and I got to block, whatever I have to do for us to be successful, that's what needs to be done.
How have you grown as not just a football player, but not even necessarily as a student athlete, but as a person in this program for these years?
Well, going to school here, this is the best university on earth to me. I haven't never thought about, transfer or nothing like that. So being here as long as I have, being under the different coaching staffs and stuff like that, and still being able to be here and get better each and every day, like Corian kind of said earlier, kind of puts you in a position where, like, you never want to give up, or, you can always do whatever you want to do, whatever you put your mind to. So staying strong, trusting the process, really, that's the main thing. We've been through a lot past 2 years. Some guys might give up, some guys might try to leave, but, if you trust the process and believe in yourself more than anything, then, you can really do anything you put your mind to. So I feel like that's where I've grown the most. Just keep pushing forward, no matter injuries, none of that. So just trusting the process.
When you get older, your mind goes. So I'm gonna take you back a little bit, right? Now you're not that old, but I'm just asking. So how did you end up here? What made you decide to come here to A&T from Elizabeth? So you went to Northeastern,
yes, sir,
from Elizabeth City.
Well, actually, coming out of high school, this was I only had one other offer. It was from a Division II school in Shawn University. So A&T taking a chance on me. Even though I wasn't coming here to play the position that I played in high school, like I said, trusting the process, making the best out of the opportunity that was presented to me. But coming here on an official visit, meeting all the coaching staffs, and it really felt like home to me. Even just a young kid out of Elizabeth City, North Carolina. Not a big area, but also a guy that went to my high school, was on the team currently, so. Being able to hang out with him a little bit, get the gist of how it is down here in Greensboro, I kind of fell in love with it immediately. So that was my decision. That was made. It was the only other offer I had. So, that's what I'm going to go with. And
when your football playing days are done, what do you hope to do?
I don't know. I've been looking into coaching a little bit. My dad was a coach. He's coached my whole life. So, I feel like it's in me. If that opportunity was presented itself, I wouldn't run from it. But yeah, I've been thinking about that a little bit, as well as the sports management side. I got my undergrad degree in sports science, fitness management. So being more on the sports management than the sports medicine side, when that time comes as well.
Nice. Last thought. Thoughts on Tennessee State? How you're preparing for the Tigers?
Just preparing to win. Like Coach said, preparing to not beat ourselves. Taking one play at a time. You know, we know what kind of team they are. You know, the stuff that they accomplished last year. But it's a new year. You know, we have things that we want to get done. So, you know, we just can go out there and play Aggie football.
All right, give it up for Aaron Harris, cornerback for the Aggies, as he joins us here on the Coaches Show. Again, want to remind everyone, as Corian Sharp set to join us momentarily, that it is a 4:30 p.m. kickoff between Tennessee State and A&T in Nashville. And we're coming on with the pregame show beginning at 4 p.m. on TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com, as well as 103.5 FM, 1400 AM. And we'll also be on Sirius XM. As a matter of fact, right now, we are joined by Corian Sharp. It's a redshirt senior. This is his fifth season with the program. He's from Charlotte. And now he says this is the first time he's joining us. I can't believe that, man. Welcome to the program first and foremost.
I appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
So you look real comfortable up here when you look. We needed to have you up here a long time ago. Do you like this kind of stuff?
It's different. It's something I ain't did before, but this is my first time. I loved it for the first time.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. So for you, HBCU preseason All-American, All-CAA preseason guy, right? Can you kind of speak to that? I know you're more about the team than individual accolades, but at the same time, I mean, you know, you've played well in this program. What does that mean to you to be receiving these type of accolades?
It's a blessing, again, but I'm going to say it again. I'm worried more about winning. It's preseason, so at the same time, it's a blessing to be noticed, but it really doesn't matter. The postseason stuff is really what matters, and, you know, we come out there and do what we got to do. All that other stuff is going to fall in line at the end.
Ron Mattis, of course, the offensive line coach, has been here for many administrations, you know, shall we say, many coaches. He's been kept, right? So he's an excellent offensive line coach. What have you learned from him maybe most at your time here at A&T?
Really everything. I got to give most of my credit to Coach Mattis. Coming here, I didn't really have an offensive line coach in high school. It was just out there, basically going out there trying to throw people. So it wasn't no technique to nothing I did. So when I came here and, you know, paired that with Coach Mattis coaching, it's what the factor of it, what this created.
Yeah, no, it's good, man. So right guard is your position. Just being the right guard, tell us what does that mean? What does that entail?
Well, we're gonna run the ball, and, you know, we're gonna run the ball at the middle. So I gotta move people.
Right.
So that's basically, and I'm gonna have to pull a lot. So.
Because you're in between the center and the right tackle. I mean, I get it, but okay. So you're right. And then, but what do you like better though? Do you like pass protection? I think you like run blocking, but which one do you like better, run blocking or the pass protection?
I say run blocking. It's, you know, you can be aggressive with pass protection too, but you gotta be more careful with it because, you know, you can't get over aggressive with it. But run blocking really, it's not too much technique. It's technique, but it's more of an attitude play. So it's like who wanted more during that play, and that's what I like to do.
What they have you listed at 6'4", 315. Is that about right?
Somewhere I'm probably about 325 right now.
Wow, and ain't too many people getting by you. But what were you when you first came? What was your size when you first came into this program all those years ago?
I was really pretty big. I had a lot of baby fat on me, so I was probably about 340 then when I came in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they toned me up more.
Okay.
Made me look more like a football player.
Wow, that's saying something. Team captain, what does that mean to be a team captain?
It's a blessing because first the coach's named us team captain, so that means they trust me. And then again, the players also, you got to have trust from the players because, you know, as a captain, you have to lead by example, and it just means everything that both the coaches and the players trust me.
There are 3 linemen right now from A&T in the National Football League. That's got to be motivation for you to be the next one up, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I played with 2 of them on Ricky Lee and Jason Ivey. So just to see how they went about their day and all the things they did, it just helps you see that you can do it too. Like it's achievable, especially being here. They're not the only one. You know, Brandon Parker too. You know, we got people, three active Aggies on O-line itself, so that means everything.
Man, that speaks very well of the program. Tennessee State, how are you preparing for the Tigers?
You know, we ain't really seen like too much other plays. You know, it's a whole new team, but you know, been watching some of the old film. It's not really too much you can go off. You don't really know the players. And, you know, we can go off what the coach has been telling us and what we see. But I feel like we just go out there and play our game, and we just dominate up front. I feel like that's going to set the tone of the game. So once we do that, then everything else will follow.
How is the offensive scheme may be different? Because this is your third coordinator. So, you know, in your time at A&T. So how's it different?
I can't say it's too much different. You know, as an offensive line, football is football. So you're going to run plays. It's not too many different run plays you can do. Pass protection, it might be different concepts on the outside, but pass protection-wise, it's going to be the same thing. Or maybe just the wording or how it's called, the name of the play. But majority of everything for the offensive line is really the same, especially having Coach Mattis. So a lot of terminologies is still the same from when I first got here.
Like I asked Aaron, how have you grown as a person here at A&T?
I can say they helped me realize the little things, and not just on the football field, but like off the football field. Like I said earlier, like time management, being there early, little simple things like that. That's not gonna carry you. It's gonna carry you far more than just on the football field. Like when we get into working or our next chapter in life.
How this offensive line? What do you just your thoughts again? Because you've been here a while, you've been a leader on this line, you know. And I asked you about the leadership and the captainship, but in particular the leadership, being the leader of this offensive line, and just kind of your thoughts of, you know, how this line has come together.
This line, we're kind of young on the O-line, but it's at the same time we got experience. Whether it's Division II or that didn't play before, like Andrew Dorsey or Gabe, they done played and did well all conference where they been. So it's like just showing them how exactly it's going to be here. Like it hasn't been hard at all because they are great players and they are great people. So it's like it's not a problem with them learning, and they have a great leader with me, but also Coach Mattis teaching them the way. So it's really been easy for my part.
All right, you're from Charlotte, went to Rocky River. How did you end up here at A&T?
It's
a little while ago, but
it wasn't too long ago. But really, I don't know. I say by the grace of God, because coming out of high school, I had no Power 5 offers, but I had like G5 offers, like the MAC conference, and I really didn't know too much about A&T. I always knew it was a great HBCU, but I didn't really know too much. But I came here in 2019 GHO, and that kind of what won me over. I seen all the beautiful faces around, and they also was winning at the time. That year was the year they won another bowl, so kind of was easy from that point.
Yeah. And then what do you hope to do when your football playing days are over?
The goal is to have like my own facility, like while we're train O-linemen and O-line specifically, but like all football, but more to the kids where I'm from, or less fortunate kids. I want to be more around them, but you know, train everybody. But I want to be able to pour back into the young people how these coaches and former coaches did to me. Teach them everything that I know and learn from them.
Give it up for right guard Corian Sharp of the Aggies joining us here on the Coaches Show. Look, that's about going to wrap it up. Want to remind you, A&T going to be in Nashville taking on Tennessee State. It is a 4:30 p.m. kickoff. We're coming on with the pregame show at 4 p.m. TobaccoRoadSportsRadio.com. Also 103.5 FM, 1400 AM, as well as Sirius XM. And we hope to see you at the game. If not, tune in. Of course, we'll talk with you next week.